Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another KP's Place YouTube video or podcast if you're listening to this on Anchor FM. Either way, amazing. Thank you very much for tuning in. We have got a Royal Rumble prediction edition here of this video and podcast. So with this one, we're going to be talking about who we think is going to win each match at WWE's Royal Rumble event in Antonio, Texas this coming Saturday. And we're basically going to be seeing who we think is going to win, who's going to be rumored to come back, and maybe some surprise entrants and maybe even some debuts as well. Some interesting stuff going to be discussed on this particular video and episode. I am joined today by none other than Kurt, Scarlett, Ishmik, and debutant. We have youngest Hero, who is also here with us as well. So let's get cracking then. Let's get into our first little bit of action. We have got the Pitch Black match, which is obviously presented by Mountain Dew. This particular matchup, we got Bray Wyatt up against LA Knight. And this one has been quite an interesting one in the build-up too. So obviously we haven't seen Bray Wyatt wrestling, at all. We've seen him doing these cryptic promos and stuff. I think a lot of people have been wanting him to, get that little bit of extra push and, not enough push per se in the, the normal retrospective idea of the word, but a push instead getting into the ring, getting into action. And here is the opportunity. Here's the chance for LA Knight to meet Bray Wyatt in the ring for the first time in a very, very long time. He wrestled on a house show against Jinder Mahal a couple of months back. But besides that, nothing on TV. So this is an awesome opportunity to see Bray Wyatt back in action. Obviously, the Pitch Black match, we don't really know too much about this one, except for that it's no disqualifications, no rules, essentially. And we think that the lights are going to be off. As to how that's going to go down as such for the guys in the audience, don't know for sure. But there's got to be a way people can see this match. So it's going to be an interesting one to think about. But let me go straight on to my predictions there for this one. So I think when you think about this logically, in terms of the winner of this match, it has to be Bray Wyatt, in my opinion. He hasn't wrestled on TV since coming back, since making his second debut, if you will. So, yeah, I mean, Bray Wyatt's got to get the win here. LA Knight is someone that I'm really, really fond of. I'm really hot on. I think he's a great addition to the main roster. But, yeah, I think LA Knight won't get the win here. Bray Wyatt, it just seemed like the logical decision in terms of walking out with the dub here. So, it plays into his wheelhouse, this type of match, the sort of like dark side to it. So yeah, I think, got to go for Bray Wyatt in this one. It's an easy decision for me, but I'm hoping for a good one, and I'm definitely interested to see how it's going to go down. So without further ado, I'll pass you over to Hero for his thoughts on this one.
Oh man, let me talk to you for a minute.
Hey.
I'm going to tell you, I think that this match is primed for LA Knight to win. Yeah, it's a Pitch Black match. It's going to be Bray Wyatt. It's going to be dark, whatever. But me personally, I truly believe this is setting LA Knight up to be a championship contender, not mid-card. But I think that LA Knight's going to win because of Uncle Howdy is going to come in and interfere, maybe knock Bray down, maybe Uncle Harper as well. Who knows? But I think that LA Knight's going to win this match. Yeah.
So for this match, I think it's really interesting, and obviously Bray Wyatt's return to go against LA Knight, and obviously this match is going to be interesting, and I'm going to pick for this one Bray Wyatt. It's interesting to see this one. I think it's lights turn off, as KP said, and I wonder if Bray Wyatt's going to be the Fiend character on this one and do the Fiend as his match going against LA Knight, as it says Pitch Black. That's what I'm thinking as well. So he might dress up as a Fiend like he did in 2021 before his release. So nothing really expecting here. Just guessed he'd be the Fiend. So my prediction, Bray Wyatt to pick up this match as he's just returned back. Over to you, Ishmik.
This match, I would say it's probably 50-50. There are two things that can happen. Normal match, where obviously Bray would get the win as he's just returned. And the second one is Uncle Howdy interfering and costing Bray the match. I was thinking about this over and over, and I'm not sure which one they would go with, but I'm leaning more towards Uncle Howdy not interfering in the match, as he would probably interfere in the Raw match later on. So I'm going with Bray Wyatt. Over to you, Scarlett.
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth on this one myself. I think I think I'm going to lean towards LA Knight on this one as well, because the way they've been booking this with the interference of Uncle Howdy and, changing Alexa Bliss's character, I think they would have to come into play. It has to be one of the reasons why they chose this match type, right? So Bray can, maybe lose and it not be a big deal because he's not losing by pinfall, maybe. I'm not really sure. Maybe he just disappears. But thinking back to when they did the John Cena Bray Wyatt match, I can't even recall who actually won that because the match type was so cool. It was so different, whether you liked it or not. It was so different that the actual outcome of the match didn't really matter. So I think that's kind of in the direction they're going here. But I think LA Knight honestly, I think he has more potential as a wrestler right now than Bray Wyatt. So I think that's why I'm going LA Knight with this one. Back to you, KP.
Thank you very much, guys, for all of your thoughts there. Even if Bray Wyatt doesn't get the win here, I wouldn't be mad. I love LA Knight. I think he's going to be amazing going forward, and he's one of the best guys on the mic. Yeah. So definitely interested to see how this one goes down. I'm looking forward to this one. So without further ado, let's go on to our second match that we are going to be discussing here. And that is the Raw Women's Championship match. You've got the champion, Bianca Belair, defending up against Alexa Bliss. This one has really caught my attention the past, what's it been, about 4 or 5 weeks or so, I think. It's been a little while, isn't it? So they have obviously had one match already, and that obviously went the way it did. With this one, I feel like now the intensity's rose. It's gotten a bit more aggressive since then, obviously with that Alexa Bliss beat down on Bianca towards the end of that most recent match. So yeah, things have taken a little bit of a turn in this one, and I have gone back and forth with the idea of Alexa Bliss winning this one. But what I'm going to say is I keep talking myself back into Bianca. Every time I've gone against Bianca recently, she's basically said, well, she's basically won the match and she's kept her title. I really thought she would lose it against Bayley. That didn't happen. I just think this match is going to be more about Alexa Bliss potentially evolving into whatever the hell she's going to be doing with Uncle Howdy and whatnot going forward, rather than the Raw Women's Championship itself. I don't think she needs to win this match in terms of her character at this time in her career. So, yeah, I'm more interested, and I think WWE are as well, in the development of this whole Uncle Howdy business afterwards. So I'm going to go with the Bianca Belair retaining of the championship here, and that partly leads me into something I'll talk about later on as well. But yeah, Bianca Belair to defeat Alexa Bliss, that's what I'm going for, and it's basically all about character development in my eyes for this one. Hero, over to you, lad.
Yeah, you make a good point about the development of the Alexa Bliss character and all that. But I believe, again, that Uncle Howdy or Uncle Harper, whichever, is going to come in, is going to cause interference, and I think Alexa Bliss is actually going to win this match. It's been so long since Bliss has been champion, and for me, it's an easy pick for Bliss. I think it's going to be a cheap roll-up win, though. But other than that, just quick, probably 5-10 minute match, quick character development. And my pick's going to be with Bliss. So over to Kurt.
So I'm going with youngest hero on this one. I think that Alexa Bliss will pick up the win for the new Royal Women's Championship, because during this match, I think Uncle Howdy will intervene, as Hero said. And obviously, as soon as he appears, it make Bianca look at Uncle Howdy and see what's going on and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I think Alexa Bliss' mood that was fun like a face to crowd and stuff changed to heel. And I think it's time to have a new champion. And I think that's Alexa Bliss, with the help of Uncle Howdy changing her moods, as we seen her change moods when Uncle Howdy come on from the previous Raw and SmackDown. So my prediction is for Alexa Bliss to pick up the win. Over to you, Mick.
Yeah, I do agree that Alexa will probably win this match. Obviously, with Uncle Howdy not interfering in the other match, he's going to interfere in this one, like he did between the brawl that happened on Raw, where he sort of changed Bliss to, like, obviously escape the KOD and DDT Belair onto the concrete. And yeah, not much to add that others have already said. So yeah, Alexa Bliss to win this match. Over to you, Scott.
Yeah, I've gone for Bianca, or excuse me, I've gone against Bianca like the last 3 pay-per-views, and that hasn't worked out well because I thought, as KP said, I thought for sure Bayley was going to take the title. Now that the more I think about it, Alexa does seem like the easy answer, but I'm kind of leaning towards what KP said about the character development of Alexa Bliss really being the only thing that's needed here. And then thinking long term, I don't think her character would go over well, like on a Mania stage, for a title. I think she could just have a feud without a title to continue to develop that character. I could be wrong, but I'm not going against Bianca again. I think she's built for the main event stage at Mania more so than Alexa is, and so that's why I choose her to retain here. Back to you, KP.
Cheers, guys. Yeah, this one's a weird one, right? I think it's basically the one that can go either way, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see what exactly is going to go down, whether it is character development, whether it is actually just going to be, interference and winning the championship. Who knows? Let's see what happens. But either way, should be a good match to watch. Fingers crossed it is. So let's move on to our next one then, which is the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns, the champion, taking on the challenger Kevin Owens in what is one of the best sort of stories that I think WWE's offering at the moment in terms of the whole bloodline thing. Might not be because of Roman Reigns per se, but because of the honorary use, Sami Zayn, my dog. But yeah, I think this whole situation is just fantastic. I'm loving all of it. I'm really interested and engrossed in the situation all the time. The story is just phenomenal, and the storytelling is just really compelling. Anyway, enough of that. This match itself. So Kevin Owens, although I rate him so highly here, I just don't see Kevin walking out as the champion. I get that, like, I've read, I don't know how many different sort of like theories and ideas and whatever regarding Kevin Owens walking out as the champion in this one. But I mean, Roman, in my respect here, I just can't see him losing the championship on a stage that isn't WrestleMania now. He's in this like 800 plus reign that he's going on. It's an incredible hot streak, whatnot. I can't see it. Not at the Royal Rumble. I think it's going to be WrestleMania. It's going to be of a couple of different scenarios that might happen. I'm not sure on which one yet. I've toyed and tossed and turned about which one I think it's going to be. But yeah, this is obviously a really good match for continuing that story progression of the bloodline. And I think leading to a Sami Zayn change of character, change of face going forward. I think that's basically what this match is setting up for, just to keep the intensity high, to keep Sami Zayn with an alter interest regarding this one, obviously being his longtime rival and friend Kevin Owens. Yeah, I think it's all Roman Reigns. Unfortunately, I can't see Kevin Owens winning, and that kind of pains me to say, but yeah, that's what I'm going with here. Roman Reigns to retain the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Hero, over to you, man.
You make a lot of good points. You do. But I agree. This is more so for progression of the bloodline. It's for Sami Zayn. Personally, I don't see them giving Kevin Owens the Universal title at the Royal Rumble, at least. I see them more of, they're going to want to break the belts up before they just give them away. It's going to be like a Becky Lynch type deal where she lost one and then she lost the other. But I think it's going to have something big to do with Sami. Maybe somebody interferes on behalf of Kevin Owens because the bloodline's going to be out there or something. And then Sami's going to have to really step up and show that he, obviously is loyal to Roman and all that stuff. And then he's going to cause Kevin Owens the match, and Roman Reigns is going to retain the belts. That's what I'm going with, Roman. Kurt?
So I'm going with Hero and KP for this one, that Roman will win the undisputed titles. And obviously I like matches with Kevin Owens because it makes the entertaining more extreme and stuff. And the reason why I pick Roman for this one, if it was for one title win, for one title like a WWE Championship or Universal Championship, I would have picked Kevin Owens. But if it wasn't for the undisputed tag titles, both of them, that's why I picked Roman, because obviously not, as Hero and KP said, that they're not going to do it with both titles. They're going to do it like one by one. and this match, I think this is where the bloodline will break up, because obviously they're going to be fighting, and then I think Sami Zayn will some point intervene and obviously like talk to Roman and pretend to be on his side and stuff. And then I think he'll switch his moves and be on Kevin Owens' side to try and get Roman to lose against Kevin. And then that's where I think that will happen. And then Solo or the Usos will come out and go against Sami and tell him what's he doing, why is he on Kevin Owens' team. Or I think Jey Uso will join Sami as he was protecting Solo from hitting Sami. I think Jimmy and Solo will be on Roman's team and Jey and Sami on Kevin Owens' team. That's what I think it'd be. But obviously, either or, I think Roman Reigns will get the ring either or, and then they might continue this match depending on what the WrestleMania match will be that we'll talk about later on. And this is what my prediction will be, that Roman Reigns return as a undisputed championships of the US Mick.
Yeah, I do agree with everyone else. I think Roman is going to win this match. I also do think it's time for Sami Zayn to get betrayed and get kicked out of the bloodline. Obviously, with Roman saying that his final test will be at the Rumble, I don't see any better time to do it now. And then, obviously, the rumored match at Elimination Chamber, so they'll have plenty of time to build it up. And yeah, not much else to add again. I think Roman is going to win this match. He's going to retain. I don't see Owens winning, perhaps maybe at a later date. But yeah, Roman retains. Over to you, Scarlett.
As much as I want Kevin Owens to win, as I'm sure most do, I don't think you can argue the logic that you all have put out there. It's for both belts. They're not going to put both belts on KO at a Royal Rumble right before this Mania event that they've been hyping up for what seems like a year with the return of Cody and all that. Yeah, unfortunately, that's where we are. KO deserves it after that crap finish they gave him last time these guys had a title match with the handcuffs and that whole bit. Yeah, but unfortunately, I guess as long as we continue to progress in the storyline here, something happens. They've been really hyping it up the last few Raw and SmackDown, the Sami Zayn betrayal and the trial and all that. So I agree. I think something has to happen concrete here for that storyline. But unfortunately, I think KO will come out on the short side here. Also going with Roman. Back to you, KP.
Thank you very much, everybody. Just before we go on to our next thing, actually, something that you guys were talking about a moment ago. I can't remember who mentioned it. It might have been Kurt or Ishmael. I can't remember who. Last test of Sami Zayn, the final test. What do we all think this is actually going to be? Is it as simple as just making sure Roman gets the win against Kevin Owens? Or is there something else to it? Is Roman going to send Sami Zayn into the Rumble and tell him to win it? Like an ultimate final test sort of thing? Like, I don't know. Like, it seems like it's too easy to just say, be at ringside for my match against KO and make sure help, like, I don't know, basically see out that I get the win or something. Because if that's the case, he's gonna succeed, right? He's gonna, like, Roman Reigns isn't gonna lose the championship. Yeah, you could argue that obviously Roman's gonna be, I don't know, like assessing Sami Zayn, and if he does sort of like decide to go against that type thing, maybe Reigns just wins the match after Sami Zayn walks out. I don't know. I want to know your thoughts, everybody. I just want to know what you think this final test is going to be. So I'll pass it around just to get some thoughts and ideas, because I'm interested. This is curiosity here from my side. Hero, what are your thoughts on this, buddy?
You got me thinking just then. If Sammy's out there, right, and then something happens, what if it's like a DQ that happens? Like Roman goes to hit Kevin Owens with the belt, and then Sammy's got to like grab the belt or whatever, and then the referee sees, and then just tries to disqualify Roman, and then you get the turmoil between the bloodline and stuff like that with Sami Zayn. Yeah, I mean that's what my thought was after you started mentioning stuff. But yeah, Kurt, what do you think?
I think that's obviously, as I said about him probably trying to join with Kevin Owens. I think Roman Reigns says I bet he challenged Sami to a match against someone, and if he loses, he'll go out of bloodline and never come back. And then if that happens, I think Sami Zayn will join Kevin Owens and form that tag team like they did in previous years and continue like that. So that's what I'm thinking about will be happening. Or, as KP said, put him in the Rumble and see if he can win the Rumble. If not, he'll get out of Bloodline and never be in there. Those are my two options, I think. Over to you, Smick.
I'm not really sure what this final test is going to be. It'll probably be something big like win the Royal Rumble or something like that. And obviously, he could potentially, he's probably one of the favourites to win. And he could do something like Roman could say, relinquish the opportunity or don't do anything about it. And then he's obviously going to betray Roman by choosing him, as obviously he's holding both the titles, but going to be choosing him to face him at WrestleMania. But obviously change the thing to something else, maybe a tag team match for the undisputed tag titles. Over to you, Scarlett.
Yeah, maybe I'm oversimplifying the whole request, but in my eyes, I don't think it's going to be go win the Royal Rumble because, I mean, the ultimate prize of winning the Royal Rumble is for a World Championship title. Roman has both of them. I don't think that makes any sense. I think, in my eyes, what seems like the whole point of it was that KO to date, at least that's how I feel, they're hyping him up to be the biggest threat to Roman's titles. Roman's shown a lot of emotion the last couple of weeks, more than he's shown possibly ever in this heel role, as far as like showing that he's agitated, showing that someone's getting under his skin, giving him the match just like that when he came out and asked for it. So I think the request is quite simply, at any cost, do not let KO win this match. And so I think that's kind of where the story is going to go, is something in that match is going to be, you have to do this, and, you know, kind of like a whose side are you choosing here moment. And I think he'll probably do something to where it can be interpreted differently by whoever side looks at it. So I think that's how that will play out, and then they'll continue to put him on trial, so to speak. Back to you, KP.
Nice one, guys. Yeah, like I said, it's mainly just curiosity. I'm just sort of interested to know where people's mindsets are at regarding this one. I don't know. It just really stuck in my head about this final test situation. So I just want to know. I just want the Rumble already. But anyway, right. So our next match then obviously is the Women's Royal Rumble match. At this point of recording, these 7 women are the only women that have been announced so far. So obviously you've got the likes of Emma, Shayna Baszler, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Raquel, Candice LeRae, and Zelina Vega. So when it comes to these 7 women, I actually think that the winner is on this screen already. I am going with Rhea Ripley to win this Women's Royal Rumble. If I don't think of Rhea Ripley as winning this one, I'm not really sure who would be my second guess. Perhaps it could be Raquel. I don't know. That's maybe a dark horse in my eyes. But yeah, I think the most likely to win in my book is going to be Rhea Ripley. And I think it sets up a nice main event at WrestleMania. It could be Rhea Ripley against Bianca Belair. I don't think she'd really go for Charlotte. They do have history over the NXT Championship, so that actually could be an option. But I have a feeling it's going to be Rhea against Bianca. That's just what I've got in my head. I've thought that for a little while now. So yeah, I'm going to go with Rhea winning this one. I do think Liv Morgan's going to have a really good involvement in this Rumble, though. I think she might be the Iron Woman, or so they like to proclaim. Basically the one that stays in the Rumble the longest. I think that's going to be Liv Morgan. She's going to get a really good sort of like showing in this event. But yeah, I think Rhea to come out at the end of it with the win, go on to WrestleMania, challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship. That's just the path that's like printed in my head. Hero, what are your thoughts on this one, buddy?
So you said that you think the winner's already on the screen right here. Now, Rhea is the popular choice of winning of all the women on this screen right here. If I had to pick one of them, I would say it's going to be Liv. But if you go back to the Royal Rumble poster, in the top left of the Royal Rumble poster, Asuka's in the top left. Me personally, because it's not a return, I think it's going to be Asuka, but it's not. It's going to be Kana from New Japan instead of regular Asuka. That's what I think. But if I had to pick one of them on here, it would be, like you said, the Iron Woman. Liv Morgan. Kurt?
So my prediction for this Rumble is no one on this picture. I'm gonna go with a return person that I think will come back, will win this match, which I'm gonna say because we're gonna talk about the returns next, and we're just gonna talk about the winners now. The one person I think will return on this that I think will win is Beth Phoenix. The reason why I'm going for Beth because she had the serious head injury from Extreme Rules when she went against the Judgment Day, and I think that she will return and go feud against Rhea Ripley of what happened because she caused her head injury, and I think Beth will eliminate Rhea Ripley, and then obviously I think that will continue and Beth will get the win and then challenge either Bianca Belair or Charlotte Flair for the title. That's what I think will happen. And my second pick will be someone else. Will be probably Raquel Rodriguez for my second pick as well. Or Rhea Ripley, one of them two for my second pick. But my first pick will be Beth Phoenix, which I think will happen. Over to you, Scarlett.
So out of the 7 women shown here, Rhea, the popular choice. Trying to think of like who they would go up against. Rhea and Bianca has money written all over it. I think 2 of the future women of WWE. Rhea versus Charlotte makes a ton of sense too, based on their history and like 2 biggest women arguably in the division right now. But I think Liv will make a big impact. But I'm actually going to go with Raquel. I think Raquel versus Bianca would be a ton of fun. If Bianca still has it, that is. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with Raquel out of these 7 women. But I also am quite fond of the idea that Hira brought up with Asuka's New Japan persona. Assuming that's a heel persona, just running through the Rumble would be amazing to watch. I'd love to see that. So those are, I'm going to go with, heel Asuka is Khan, I believe her name was, or Rhea Raquel out of the 7 pictured here. Back to you, KP.
I'm tossing up the idea of this Asuka win. I think I'd actually prefer it to a Rhea Ripley win. But yeah, I don't know. My head just says go Rhea Ripley. I just think she is the more popular choice. I get that. Maybe I am, joining the herd of sheep here, perhaps on that sense. But I can't look past her. I don't know why. I just can't. Okay, so our next segment, which is the return predictions and whatnot, all of that sort of jazz. Obviously, the Women's Rumble is the Rumble that sort of gets the most surprise entrants because they tend to go to like the legends, and you'll see the likes of like Michelle McCool's and on the screen Lita. I'd like to see Lita maybe make an appearance in the Rumble. Obviously, you had Ronda Rousey appear last year and win the whole thing. That was a surprise. I think there's more scope for returns in this one, but these are I've got a list here of a few that I've had a think about in terms of who will be making a return. Like Hero said, Asuka isn't so much a return. She is on the main roster. It's just she's been away for a little while. We don't know exactly what's been going on with her. I think maybe about 6 weeks or so. Hasn't been that long, but again, has been a noticeable enough amount of time. I really, really love the idea of her coming back as Kana or something along the lines of that. Maybe they have to change the name for WWE rights. I'm not sure, but I'm all for it. I'm very high on that, and yeah, I'm definitely hoping that is going to be the thing that happens. I think a change of theme, change of persona, just a badass killer Asuka or Kana, whatever we get would be crazy good. I'm 100% up for that. I agree with Kurt in the sense that Beth Phoenix will be in the Rumble. I don't agree that she'll win it, though. That's just a personal thing about that. But I think Beth Phoenix will be involved, but I'm not sure how. I think another one could be Mickie James, like she did last year. She's just become recently the Impact Knockout Champion. So that's what she brought into the Royal Rumble last year. So I'm thinking they might literally just go 2 for 2, do it again. Why not? And then another one that I'm thinking is Chelsea Green as well, because of Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder, as we know him in WWE. apparently coming back as well. So I'm thinking if he comes back, Chelsea Green will be involved as well. There are a few names that I've just sort of had a little think about, and I think it might be involved. Hero, have you got anything else further to say on this one, buddy?
I don't want Ronda anywhere near the Rumble. That's just me personally. I don't like Ronda Rousey. Mercedes, she's busy over in Japan. I don't see her coming back. I don't know who that is on the far right. I think she was a Funkadactyl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see Lita. I could also see Trish. Trish has been doing a lot lately, and she also came back during their tour in Canada. So as far as returns, I would like to see Jordynne Grace from Impact. Mickie James, of course, I'd like to see her come back. Maybe, again, Kana. And if Kana came back, then you would also have Kyrie. You could look at Kyrie coming back for a minute. But as far as any of them winning, I wouldn't see that happening. Besides Asuka, of course. But those are my return predictions. Are Kana, yeah, Kana. Kurt, go ahead.
All right, so my returns or debuts that I think will be in the Rumble. I got a few, yeah. So Beth Phoenix and Mickie James, obviously. Beth Phoenix, my winner to probably win this Royal, and Mickie James, as KP said, he think will return to as like a one-off show. I also think Natalya will be back in this Rumble because obviously she's been out with a nose injury that Shayna Baszler did to her, and I think her and Shayna Baszler will be in a feud, and obviously Natalya wants to get a revenge back on Shayna Baszler, and I think Natalya probably eliminates Shayna Baszler to get her advantage and stuff. I think Kelly will return because it'll be one day thing because they always call people for 1 days. Also, Lita because she will normally come back on the Royal Rumbles as well. Also, I think Melina might come back on this Royal Rumble because apparently last Royal Rumble in 2022 that apparently were a botch of elimination that Sasha Banks not meant to eliminate Melina then. She meant to eliminate her in further on in the match. So I think everyone called Melina back and probably put her in this Rumble again from a more advantage. Also, I think Doudrop will come back because she will offer a broken nose as well, same as Natalya. For returns, I think Naomi might return back to this Rumble as well. Also, I think Nia Jax will return as well because she got released by Vince the other day, but I think they might return her. And I don't know why I put this as well, my last one, which is AJ Lee. I don't know why I put this, but I think AJ Lee might go to Rumble and do good matches. I don't know if it's a 1 day off match or just have a contract, but I hope for a contract and she'll go against loads of people like Ronda Rousey and Charlotte and that lot and do a contract as Vince doesn't do WWE anymore. So those are my returns and I hope will return. If you haven't heard me saying anything about Michelle McCool, the reason why I haven't said Michelle McCool because apparently there was a tweet on Twitter about a day or two ago saying that she hasn't had a call about going in the Rumble yet. So I think she wouldn't be in the Rumble. That's why I didn't pick Michelle McCool. And apparently she said she'd be in the audience. So I don't know if she's in the Royal Rumble or not. But she said she hasn't got a call. So I don't know if that's a rumour of that she'll be in the Royal Rumble or not. So that's why I didn't pick her. So over to you, Scarlett.
So the only name that I've heard so far that I'm actually quite intrigued by is AJ Lee. I'd love to see a comeback from her. I don't know how realistic that is, but I think it's more realistic than maybe Kurt you think it might be. But maybe I don't know what I'm talking about either. So I'd love to see her come back. A lot of dream matches in WWE. I'd love to see her have. Kairi Sane would be great to see her back. And I think if you do see her back, I think you kind of open that window. And if you had her, maybe Sasha, boil some blood over there with KP and Hero. But I would love Sasha and Ronda to come back. Ronda hasn't been away for long, but having recently rewatched last year's, Ronda got a huge pop, and I think this time she'd get some pretty big go away heat. But I'm okay with that. I'm okay with her and or Sasha coming back. I can't think of any other returns outside of Asuka, but kind of been mentioned quite a bit. I think Asuka is probably my biggest one. I'd like to see return. Back to you, KP.
All right, cheers, guys. Loads of names being thrown around there, and yeah, this has the most potential to have more names being thrown around. So it's going to be an interesting one. I'm always up for the surprises, the returns, whatever. So fingers crossed they get it bang on the money this year. That would be fantastic. So let's turn our attention now from one gender to the other. Our last match that we have to talk about now is the Men's Royal Rumble match. So obviously, as you can see on the screen, you've got a series of names that are on there already. You've got the likes of Omo, Santos Escobar, Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, Ricochet, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Happy Corbin, Austin Theory, Kofi Kingston, Gunther, Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Karrion Kross. There's a fair few names on there, other like compared to that of the Women's Rumble, where it's obviously you've only got 7. So, yeah, I mean, this is a really, really interesting one. Cody Rhodes is the name that always comes to mind first in terms of like, who's going to win this one? Yeah, Cody's going to win. I feel like that's the predictable option. I really, really do. But when I think about other guys who might win instead, I don't really think they're any more likely than Cody is to win. Like, yeah, he's the like Rhea Ripley, I suppose. He is that sort of option where, in terms of logical sense, he probably will win it. You know, he's back to complete what Dusty wasn't able to achieve. And I think, obviously, if you go back to last year with the Money in the Bank, Cody was scheduled to win that contract instead of Austin Theory. It just adds up to Cody Rhodes. Just this is his opportunity now. He's going to be given that chance, and then he's going to get that opportunity at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. That's just how I see it. As sheepish as it sounds, it just makes the most sense. I think there are other names that could potentially win it if I'm going to look past Cody. Maybe, like, I think a surprise dark horse in this one could be, like, it's weird to say this, but Seth Rollins maybe winning the Rumble, or a Bobby Lashley. I think they are the other guys who are sort of like up there with the highest chance of winning. I know Sami Zayn's name being tossed around, but I just see Sami being in this tag team picture with KO against the Usos come WrestleMania. So that's why I'm not going to pick Sami Zayn. As much as I want him to win, I don't think he will. So, yeah, I think out of those on the screen and anybody else that I can think of in my head, I will go with Cody Rhodes as my main pick to win the Rumble. Over to you, Hero.
I agree. I think the if I was betting man, I would go for Cody. But I can also see Rollins coming in and throwing Cody out. But I think Cody's going to come in maybe in between, 1 and 5. So Cody's going to be the workhorse of this match. But if I had to pick from all the people that's on this picture right here, I would probably go with y'all are going to laugh about this one, but I would go with Corbin. Honestly, Corbin's been working his tail off. He's got JBL on his back now, and it would be awesome to see Baron Corbin win this match. Yeah, that's what I think. So, Kurt.
Yeah. So Cody Rhodes has been announced, which obviously, if Cody Rhodes won this, I think they probably wouldn't announce it. I think they would leave it as a surprise. That's why I have my second thoughts of not going for him as my prediction of winner. My prediction for the winner as well is also going to be a return if he returns, which is The Rock. Which I'll talk about later on when I talk about my returns and things on the next slide. So my winner of this match is going to be The Rock, and I'll tell you later on. And also in this Royal Rumble match, I hope Kofi, if he does a save, I hope it doesn't fail like last year's Royal Rumble, where he tried to go on the crowd barrier and touched both of his feet. And I hope he doesn't fail. I hope he does a good move this time. So my prediction for this Rumble is going to be The Rock. Nothing much to say till the next slide. So over to you, Scarlett.
So I think we're past the era of part-timers winning big events. I think maybe I'm being hopeful still, but I think Triple H kind of proved that with his kind of they were playing on the fact that they DX didn't ruin Imperium like they've done in the past reunion shows. And I again, maybe I'm being too hopeful, but I think we're past those days. So with this, I think The Rock or Brock Lesnar returning and winning. I don't think that's going to happen. I again, maybe this is too high of praise for Triple H already, but I think he knows better from a business perspective. He knows he's smart enough to know that booking those kind of part-timers to win is just doesn't make good business sense. So that being said, Cody feels too obvious right now to me. We've seen this promo for how long? It lasts, 4 or 5 weeks, 2 or 3 times. It seems like a show, at least twice. I think you can give him that opportunity at Elimination Chamber. So I'm going to go Cody not winning, which means you have to pick someone else. And out of these people, I think Seth Rollins, that story writes itself with Roman. Seth and Roman would be a lot of fun. To go with a less boring choice, I think Karrion Kross could really benefit from a Rumble win. I think his character has a lot of potential. To see him elevated to a main event status, it would either be sink or swim. Figure out if that project's going to work. Maybe that's too much of a gamble to take on a Mania event match. But out of these, say pick Rollins and then Karrion Kross being the dark horse there. Back to you, KP.
Nice one, guys. Thank you very much there. We'll just crack straight into our next slide then, which obviously is the returns and debuts, perhaps, of what not could happen at the Rumble. So, yeah, I mean, I've got a few names down here that I think could or may not be in the Rumble. The Rock is one that I'm sort of torn about. I don't think The Rock will be in the Rumble per se, but I think he will return at the Rumble, if that makes sense. So, I think, Scarlett was saying, part-timer win the Rumble, I really don't like that. I don't rate that at all. When Brock won last year, it really left a sour taste in my mouth. But The Rock doesn't need to win the Rumble. I just don't think he needs it to happen. He can come out after the Roman and KO match, and he can just stare down he can just stare down Roman Reigns. They literally don't even have to say a word to each other. Everyone knows what would happen. The Rock could even just point at the WrestleMania sign. Roman could look, and he can be like, "Yeah, all right then." It's something easy like that. But I think if you're going to look at the Rumble and go the other way, The Rock actually could be in it. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think he'll be at the Rumble in some capacity. I think Edge is going to be back in this match. It's one of the big guys that I think will be returning here. I just can't see him being away for much longer. This could be his potential last Royal Rumble, because obviously I think he said last year that he wanted to retire this year in Canada, I think, but not at the Elimination Chamber. I think they've got a later tour at the end of the year. So I think his days are sort of limited in sort of his time in WWE. So I think he's going to want to get the last few things done. So he'll probably come back, maybe set up another thing with Finn Balor and the Judgment Day perhaps, and then go from there. I think Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder could be in this, as I did mention earlier with Chelsea Green. That's another name. He's been tweeting for so long now, maybe 3 months or so, about teasing about being in the Rumble and whatnot. So I think they wouldn't he wouldn't have done all of this if he wasn't going to be in it at all. So I think he is going to come back and make an appearance. Another name I'm tossing around here is Riddle. Riddle's been recently in rehab dealing with some issues. As long as everything's all right, then I'm thinking Riddle's going to be back in for this event. And that leads me to my next one. This is more a hopeful, optimistic one, but I'm going with Randy Orton, just in case he does have a good recovery from the surgery that he had last year. I really hope that he does, because I don't want what was at this point his last run to be his last run, his most recent one to be his last run. So I would like him to have another good shot at it. Maybe it could be an opportunity for him to turn on Riddle per se, and maybe set up a pretty awesome feud between those two and not be RK Bro anymore. That would be quite cool. And then one other one that could be making a debut here is Jay White. I've seen a lot of interest recently about that. Obviously, I think his contract's just about to expire over in NJPW, so he apparently is very interested in working in the WWE and being in the Royal Rumble. So that's a name to possibly look out for as well. So they're my sort of top guys there to perhaps make a return or a debut in this Rumble event. So with that being said, Hero, who have you got in mind?
So this Rumble's probably going to be stacked already with people from NXT and stuff like that. So I don't see a huge amount of returns from part-timers, but I did have a couple of names in mind, just rattling off the top of my head. I do see Carlito coming back, and I would like Carlito to get a proper run in WWE with his physique now and how he looks and stuff. And on top of Carlito coming back, another name that I've really been hearing a lot about is Chris Adonis or Chris Masters. I would like to see Chris Masters come back and get a proper run. Rene Dupree, I could see him coming back. That would be nice. I think he would get a good pop. Seth Rollins. No, I'm just kidding. Not Seth Rollins. Let's see who else. I had somebody else in mind. Stone Cold. I could see Stone Cold popping up in the Rumble, and that's the only ones that I could think of that would come back, because I mean, seeing as it is in Texas, it would only make sense for Stone Cold to show up. But that's just me. I don't see The Rock coming back, at least in the Rumble, because that would just be a wasted spot, in my opinion. But what do you think, Kurt?
So my predictions of returns and debuts. So obviously Randy Orton, as KP said, that he was out on an injury and hasn't returned since for his back injury, and I think it probably might have been recovered by now, and there's a rumour saying that he could possibly return in the Royal Rumble this year. So I'm going with Randy Orton to join this Royal Rumble. I'm also going with The Rock, obviously, that I think will win, go against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Also Zack Ryder, aka Matt Cardona, that I think will return, as KP said as well. And also, as Hero said, I think Stone Cold Steve Austin will return to this Rumble as it's in Texas, as he says, and I think this will be Stone Cold's last match in WWE and last Royal Rumble of his career. If Rock do return in the Rumble, I think it'd be good to see The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin have a face-off like we've seen in the early years of WWE. And I also think that R-Truth might come back, as he's been off on October for his leg injury, and I kind of want to see R-Truth come back and do stuff. For this next return, I don't know if I think it probably wouldn't happen, which is I put the Great Khali, because he returned in that Greatest Royal Rumble, but I don't know if he might return for a day for the Royal Rumble, go face to face with Omos in the ring, and one of them eliminates each other, all the people go eliminate them both. So that's why I go with Great Khali. And also I think Edge will return to go against Judgment Day, as KP said. And I forgot to say something about Royal Rumble. I wonder if Dominic and Rey will go face to face and battle each other. And I think Dominic and Rey Mysterio will lead to a WrestleMania match in the future. So I'll pass you over to Scarlett for his thoughts. Over to you, Scarlett.
I do like the Rey and Dominic idea. One of the many reasons why Royal Rumble is one of my favorite pay-per-views. All the storytelling that they've done over the last year, or really any time they can put to work inside the ring. But as far as returns go, I would be disappointed if we don't see Edge come back. He has too much story left to tell with a few different people. So the main point being the Judgment Day. I would be surprised if he doesn't come back here and try to get some sort of revenge. Whether he gets it or not, it can be a separate story, but definitely thinking he needs to return here. Other names, not really thinking of any other that hasn't been mentioned already. But just to put the thought out there, and wishful thinking perhaps, but maybe if Triple H, I think it's been mentioned before, but if Triple H can get some sort of crack in that forbidden door with AEW, I mean, the possibilities are endless. If we could get that door just cracked a little, enough to get one signed star over here, and the potential would just obviously be endless. But this isn't a fantasy booking segment, so we'll just have to wait and see. But Edge is the only one that I can think of that's surefire. So back to you, KP.
Cheers, guys. Loads of names again being thrown around. I think, yeah, it has less potential than the women's one to be sort of like as surprising. Obviously, they've only announced like half of the entrants so far, but I suppose technically then half of them are going to be surprises at this point, but not really, considering they're all like a lot of them are going to be main roster and maybe even NXT call-ups. So, but yeah, interested to see who's going to be making that walk down the aisle and surprising us all. Hopefully, some really awesome ones would be fantastic. Okay, so that has been our predictions there for this Royal Rumble event coming up this Saturday. We'll be doing another video or podcast, as it will be, after the Royal Rumble, and that'll basically be our reviews and what we thought, our reactions of the show in total. And yeah, that'll come a few days later. So we're looking forward to that one as well. That'll be our next one. Yeah, so it's been like 2 months in Survivor Series, so it's been a long time. But we're back into it, and yeah, get into a routine again now, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, thanks for joining me, everybody. Thank you to Hero, to Kurt, to Ishmik, who popped in for a bit, as he always does. And cheers to Scarlett as well. So thank you very much, you guys. Thank you for letting me know your thoughts and predictions and whatnot. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. I think we'll call it there. It's been a good one. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in as well. It's a pleasure, as always. And thank you for tuning into our first podcast as well. That's also amazing to say as well. So cheers, guys. This has been another KP Plays YouTube video or podcast with me, KP, because that would be me, and with Kurt, Scarlett, Hero, and Ish, because that would be them. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.